And he made a joke about Trayvon Martin, the kid who was murdered. And he said, maybe you wouldn't have gotten murdered if you had a job. And it's like, what the fuck? You know, like, what the fuck were you thinking, right? But they got burned because they laughed at the joke. Doesn't help that they're white. You know what I'm saying? And so they put out a public apology video, and you guys know who they are. They're Steve and Nikki. So Steve and Nikki put out a public apology video. The first one that they did wasn't that great. I don't think they worded it very well. I think they got scared, and so they wanted to put out a quick apology video. But they did a second one, which was a lot better, and they apologized for it. They apologized how it hurt the community, specifically in these times right now. And a lot of people were asking me, it's like, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome to an episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. We have Edric in the house, also known as Ed2.
Yes, sir.
You know, people like you on here, man. They say your voice is very soothing.
So let me just do like a dedicated, like, help you sleep at night type thing.
Oh, you should do, you know, I've been trying to get this other dude. His name is Jeremy. He has a very deep, bassy voice. I was telling him he should just do a podcast, or not even a podcast, where he just reads like nighttime stories. Because I would listen to that shit.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I was like in high school and like college, girls used to tell me like, dude, you should be a late night radio host, you know? Like, I could fall asleep to your voice. And I didn't know like how to take that. I was like, are you saying I sound boring? Or, you know, I got a soothing voice or what? But they're like, yeah, you should be a late night radio host, you know? Like, I could imagine listening to you late at night and then just falling asleep to it.
You know what's weird? Like, before I had this podcast, and actually not even just this podcast, I don't think a lot of people know what their voice sounds like. And then you don't know a lot of the mannerisms you have.
For sure.
What I figured out when I was doing this podcast, and every time that I had coffee before I shot this, I would speak so fucking fast. I had no idea. I would listen to this podcast and I didn't know what the fuck I was saying. But it's interesting. I think that a lot of people, because they've heard me speak for so long, they pick up on it really quick. Because in my head, it sounds very coherent. But then when I'm listening to myself sometimes, I'm like, bro, I don't know what you're saying, man.
And there's a term for that, no? Like, when you listen back to yourself for the first time, isn't there a word for that?
I don't know, but I know that people don't like the sound of their voice. And what I heard was that when you speak, it reverberates through your skull or whatever. And then whatever you hear from that out is a augmented version of what somebody else hears. Right?
No, when I first started doing music and I recorded for the first time, I was like, yo, that's how I fucking sound like. I'm like, dude, I fucking hate my voice, man. Like, I gotta do something. I gotta get like the game's raspiness or something, you know? It took me a while, man, just to kind of get over that part. I would like record tracks and then I'd listen back and I'm like, dude, I don't like the way I sound. Like, he's like, that's your voice though. And I'm I got to do something about it, because if that's how I sound, like, I don't want to hear myself. So why would anybody else want to hear me?
That's the same thing when I record, when me and Z do music together, right? And then I'm trying to sound a certain way, and it sounds way better in my head.
For sure it does.
And then when you hear the raw vocals, I'm like, man, who the fuck is that, dude?
10 out of 10, that's how it always is. It's like you recite, you know, what you got written down, and then like you're like, oh, I'm at a place now where it's great, you know, like I'm ready to record this, and then you record it and it throws you off your game, because you're like, fuck, man, that's not what was in my head when I was reciting it.
I think the hardest part for a lot of like people who want to be like young musicians out there right now, I think like music is so accessible. You get to kind of sample a lot of different things.
For sure.
I think that's why stylistically, when it comes to singing, I'm seeing a lot of different stuff. But at the same time, one of the things that I see a lot that I get really disappointed in is how everybody tries to sound the same. Because, you know, back in the day, right? We're talking about Snoop sounds like Snoop.
Right.
LL Cool J sounds like LL Cool J.
Right.
Dr. Dre sounds like Dr. Dre. Biggie sounds like Biggie. Tupac sounds like Tupac, right? But I feel like a lot of the stuff, when I look at the top hits on Spotify, I don't know who a lot of these artists are, right? So for example, who's a couple of people that passed away? That Juice WRLD kid, right? So Juice WRLD and everybody that's in his division of hip hop, I can't tell the difference between them. I'm not saying their music is bad, but what I'm saying is like, you guys swagger jack somebody's shit, and then you didn't make enough changes to make it your own sound. So when you hear that kid Juice WRLD, or I hear, I don't know, like fucking, who's that one? Is he white? I think he's like mixed, but he looks really white.
Who?
He was that one kid that made he did like fucking chinky eyes in one of his music videos. He got
oh shit, I don't know. Yeah, that does sound familiar with the chinky eye thing.
He did. He had a collab with Kanye, and they were wearing that.
Oh yeah.
What's that kid's name? I don't listen to his music, so
the one in the big balloon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You guys know who the fuck we're talking about, right?
But I forgot what.
Then I confuse his stuff with like Lil Uzi Vert. I don't know the damn difference.
Yeah.
And I think like the hard part is, especially, and this is the same thing for people who sing, they all kind of start to sound exactly the same. And I think like the hard part is for certain musicians, especially when it comes to singers, is that sometimes people don't work with the voice that they have, and they try to steal a voice that somebody else has.
Right.
You know?
And I mean, that's the thing though. Like when you're first starting out, in my opinion anyway, like the best is to emulate the greats, right? Because they're greats for a reason. And their music is timeless for a reason. So you start emulating them to kind of start discovering yourself. But that's the point. You got to take that next step to discover your own style through that, you know? But then when it just becomes like pure emulation, then there's no originality, there's no artistry in it. And like, that's the thing, man. Some people might think I'm a hater for it, but I just think today's music for the most part is not that timeless, you know?
Yeah.
And like you said, I look at the top hits, like top singles, top artists. I don't know like 90% of who the fuck these artists are, because I don't even bother to listen to their shit, you know?
Yeah.
I've heard kind of like what's popular out there without knowing who the artist is, and it's enough for me to not want to look into who the artist is, you know? Whereas for us, like growing up in the golden era of hip hop and R&B, like those jams and those artists are still relevant today, right? They're still very well respected. The music today is still considered hits, but then I don't know, like 20 years from now, if music coming out of 2020, 2019, 2018 is going to be considered timeless, you know?
Yeah, sometimes I wonder, it's like, am I just fucking old? Am I just one of those like old
I question
dudes?
that too.
You know, because I don't want to sound like a hater either, right? Because it's not like I don't enjoy that music when it plays, right? It's like, oh, this shit's fucking dope. Like I fuck with it.
Yeah.
But can I recite the lyrics?
No.
Can I recognize it from another song? Not really. You know what I mean? And I don't know if I'd be listening to that shit later on, because it's not like I don't fuck with these artists.
Yeah.
I think like their music is dope. But in terms of the conversation of it being timeless, that's where I don't know if it's timeless.
If I were to bet my money on it, I would say it wouldn't be timeless. It's just honestly, it's relevant to right now, and that's all it's gonna be. And for me, the only reason why I recognize these songs is because I recognize I don't like that song. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I heard this one. I don't like that song. That's how I remember it. Not because, oh shit, I remember this jam because it was dope. I don't even know who the artist is, but I thought it was a dope jam. No, it's like, dude, I don't like this song, so I want to fucking turn this song off right now.
I think one of the things that I always like to reference to is was it the Breakfast Club? I think it was the Breakfast Club with Jay-Z, when Jay-Z came on, and he was talking about the evolution of music and how I forgot who said this, but somebody was like, "Don't you think there's no good music out there?" He goes, "No, I think there's a lot of great music out there. It's just that you just got to really listen for it."
Right.
So that's. And then he also kind of said something very poignant, which I 100% agree. And he's talking about how we kind of digest music nowadays is too fast.
Yeah,
we're too quick to say an album is the greatest of all time. We're quick to say the track is like the best fucking track out there. And we never really sit with music because of how music was received, who the critics were, because everybody can be a critic now, including me. Like I can be a critic. And so after I listened to that interview, I went back and I listened to some of the albums that I didn't like from artists that I really liked. And I started listening albums once again, like we used to back in the day, from front to end.
Right.
And when you listen to an album from front to end, sonically, it just sounds so much better.
Yeah.
But we're picking and choosing certain tracks because we feel like we vibe with it real quick, but we're not really thinking about what the artist did to create that album as a whole piece.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is that nowadays we're talking about instant gratification, mass consumption, right? So nobody really has the like attention capacity or even the desire to sit there and like really treat an album as an experience, like it's a movie or something, and there are definitely artists who are still trying to do that in current time. And like one of the most, I guess, notable artists would be Kanye. He still does try to sometimes make an experience out of his album from start to finish. But nowadays it's all about single. I mean, that's what it's been, singles, ever since the shift happened to digital, it's really been about singles, and it's a singles market. Nobody's really caring about trying to sell full albums. They want to sell songs.
I mean, it's the way that everything kind of evolved, because nobody really wants to wait for art anymore.
For sure.
They want to have it now, and if they don't have it now, they move on to the next person. Exactly. Which is kind of sad because we're talking about like it's hard to say who's really a fan of something now, right? Because I feel like for people that I'm a fan of, whether you release something a year from now, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'm still gonna be waiting for that shit, right? Like for example, because I fuck with, I don't know, like J. Cole. J. Cole could take a hiatus for 2-3 years, and when his album drops, I'm the first one to cop it.
Right.
Easy shit. Same thing with like Kendrick. My current favorite artist is this dude from that show, from that one hip hop show that was on Netflix with like T.I. and everybody. D-Smoke. Have you heard of him?
No, I haven't.
D-Smoke is fucking fire, dude. Like he's from LA, straight out of Compton, and this dude is, I'm sorry, not Compton. Sorry, Inglewood.
Okay.
He reps Inglewood really hard, and he's like one of those people. When you first listen to him, he kind of sounds like Kendrick. He has that Kendrick vibe, right? Obviously, they're both from LA, kind of from similar neck of the woods, so they kind of have a similar style. But when you listen to them, really, they sound very sonically different. But if you love like Kendrick, you love J. Cole, you'll fucking love D-Smoke.
I'll check him out.
And I feel like he makes a lot of timeless music. Like I've never had a new artist come out where I played him so repetitively, constantly. I love his shit. But
I mean, the thing is, that's not to take away from like the artistry of current music too, because at the end of the day, art, music is subjective, right? It's gonna be somebody's cup of tea, and it's somebody else. They're gonna be like, that's garbage. So I don't ever disrespect like somebody's artistry. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean that it's trash. It just means like that it doesn't resonate with me for whatever reason, you know. But at the same time, if I was trying to create that type of music, I probably couldn't do it. And so that's where the respect comes from. It's like, no matter what the inspiration is, no matter what the process is for how you came to that what you created, I respect that. You know, whether it was from drugs, whether it's just, you know, you just got a different creative side in your brain, whatever the case is, I respect that. But a lot of what's coming out right now, it's hard for me to really enjoy, because one, I don't understand what the fuck they're saying. And like, I think for me, lyrics is so important just because I was an artist myself. And so like the writing aspect of it. And two is if they even wrote it, right? I mean, did they have ghostwriters on it? Did they have other writers on it, right? Sometimes you look at, you know, the sheet and there's like 7, 8 credited writers, right? And then so it's like, if you're not writing your own music, then where does the artistry come from then? Are we essentially saying your voice is your artistry? Like that's your artist integrity right there? And I can't fuck with that. Like you, in order to be an artist, you have to be really creating. And it's like, I'm not saying you can't collaborate with people. Obviously, music as a collaborative process is like one of the most magical things in the world, right? Yeah. But then when, you got like that many different writers on your shit, it's like, how much did you really do then? You know? And it's like, when you're in the studio and you're doing these things, you can kind of get an idea when there's that many writers, they didn't do that much. You know what I mean? Most of it was coming from, some of these.
Everybody's just trying to grab points. That's why. They say a couple of words like, yo, why don't you just take that hook and then bring it up like 2 spots earlier and then use the word the. And it's like, make sure you give me my points real quick.
5%. Right
I want 5% for that fucking change. Because I feel like that's even how it is with like bigger artists. And so I forgot who was telling me this, but he was telling me like even artists like Beyonce, like you see the album and you see that she's credited as one of the writers, but he's like, but she didn't really do much. Like she walked in and she was like, oh, I probably prefer to sing this spot here, and then she gets fucking big writing points because obviously it's her album and it's fucking Beyonce. But did she really write the song? No.
Exactly. That's the thing. And it's like, you know, not to say that some of these big artists aren't talented or whatever, and maybe they're at a point in their career where it's like, I'm too famous, I'm too rich to be inconvenienced by anything, you know? So it's like, I want everything done for me, and then I'm just gonna come in and do what I gotta do, right? But then there are still people who really treat the process like it's art, you know, and I respect that. And like, guys, again, going back to a guy like Kanye, I know he's become or even a more controversial figure.
He's so polarizing.
Yeah,
man.
He's very polarizing
guy. Shit.
Yeah, but the dude is, I mean, he's a fucking creative guy, you know? I'm sure his...
Are you going to vote for him as a president?
Oh, I said he's a creative guy. I didn't say he's a political guy, you know?
That shit came out of nowhere. He's like, he's like, yay for president.
Yeah.
And what did people think? People were thinking that he's doing that because he's trying to split up the Democratic vote.
Right.
I don't know if that's his motive.
I really don't know. I mean, you can never guess with that guy because sometimes it's just...
I don't get him.
Yeah, he goes on a bender sometimes, you know? And I think it's because he's bipolar too. Sometimes when he's up on his upswing, he might just like kind of go ham on like crazy shit. And then sometimes he's on his downswing.
Did you hear about that theory about Kanye West?
What theory?
How, this whole time he was wearing the MAGA hat and whatever, and that was what he had to do to get close to Donald Trump so he could do prison reform. So this was something that he planned out since the beginning. And there was this whole tweet about how the money that people thought he was donating to Trump's campaign, they looked at the receipts and it was actually to Hillary. But he was just doing this as a whole like anime master plan to just get close to the enemy, and he was just going to be a martyr and take all these bullets and these shots just so he could get justice done.
Wow, if that's the truth, man, I mean, shit, that's pretty crazy.
I hope I'll listen. I haven't listened to his music in so fucking long because of his fucking psychotic episodes. So I'm like, I don't know if I could fuck with them like that. I mean, right? But I still listen to R. Kelly. Yeah. I'm kidding. I'm fucking around. Oh, dude, that was hard. You know when R. Kelly, when the R. Kelly documentary came out?
Yeah.
You know what the weird thing was? Like, I didn't know. This podcast is brought to you by Skillshare, my friends. Are you that type of person that wants to start exploring a passion, but you don't think you have the time, or maybe you just don't know where to start? That's where Skillshare comes in. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes to help you explore new skills and learn shit on your own time and schedule. There are so many things that I want to do and learn, and Skillshare has the craziest amount of online classes that I can choose from that I personally love. Right now, I'm going through a course called Filmmaking from Home, and the tips that I've gotten from this course, I use in my videos now. You guys seen my YouTube videos. Well, a lot of this filmmaking stuff that I've actually picked up that I didn't learn just from watching other people's stuff, I found it through these courses. So explore your creativity and get 2 free months of premium membership at Skillshare.com/brain. That's 2 whole months of unlimited access to thousands of classes for free. Get started and join today by heading to Skillshare.com/brain. That's 2 free months of unlimited access to thousands of classes at Skillshare.com/brain. It's like I knew of it, but for some reason I didn't know. You know, because all the stuff that he did, for some reason, I guess because we were so young, we kind of ignored it. I don't know what it is, but when I was thinking about my wedding playlist, there was like fucking 4 R. Kelly songs on there, and that shit had to be deleted with the quickness. Out of here.
Well, I mean, I think it's when we were younger, we didn't consume and receive information on the level that we do today. You know, so like if the scandal breaks out, there's only room for one scandal, not like 5 fucking scandals at one time, and that's just in the first hour, you know? So I mean, the way information spreads is so much different now, and it's like that, and then everybody's on it and it's trending on Twitter.
Fucking Elon Musk is endorsing Kanye West. Well, Elon Musk, and also obviously Chance the Rapper, which I'm trying to figure out why.
Well, Chance, they're both from Chicago, you know, and like when Chance was coming up, Kanye, you know, definitely like
helped him out.
You know, gave him a little bit of a platform to get his name out there. So that's probably why.
But does he really think that Kanye's going to do a good job? I mean, he's clinically bipolar. He's admitted it.
That's the thing.
That's the odd thing. Like, I personally don't give a fuck how much you help me out. I'm still going to go by my moral compass.
Yeah.
That's the thing too. I feel like people confuse sometimes. They go, well, if we're homies, if I fuck with, or if you fuck with me, you got to support me 100%. What if you're a fucking rapist? You know, I'm supposed to support your raping? Like, I don't fucking think so. We're going to have a side conversation.
Yeah, why don't you babysit my daughter? You know?
Like, where's your fucking moral compass? Like, I fuck with Chance the Rapper, but I thought it was very odd that he would endorse him in that type of way, because he was tweeting like, Kanye West put out this tweet where it was something about his mom, right? And he was like, how can I not support this brother who has this beautiful soul, or something to that line. I'm paraphrasing, by the way, but I'm like, I love my mom too. I shouldn't be fucking. What the fuck does that got to do with him being the president of the United States, right. Chance? What the fuck are you talking about?
You know,
man?
The thing is too, though, is that we obviously know of his public persona and like all the kind of mishaps that he's had, right, in the public eye.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like Well, because I have a little bit of anecdote to that. Because like I got a friend who's I won't say what industry he's in, but let's just say he's in entertainment, and he's worked with Kanye directly, and he told me like how perceptive and how like smart Kanye is when it comes to like his own public image, right? And then so they did something for Kanye, and Kanye looked at it, and then he just kind of processed for, you know, like 30 seconds or whatever, and then he's like, yeah, but don't you think that it should be a little bit louder? Because people look at me and they think I'm this like super loud, super brash type of personality, and that type of thing that we're trying to do won't necessarily fit with that image. So I think we should go bigger and we should go even louder with it. And he said he was really taken aback by that because of how perceptive he is of what his public image and public persona is. And then the fact that he's plays to that, not saying, oh, we should tone it down to like do a little bit of a damage control type thing. No, he's like, that's what people perceive me as. Let's play to that. You know, let's make it bigger. Let's make it louder. Let's make it more in your face. And so that's the thing, is that we won't ever know who we know public Kanye, but we don't know private Kanye, you know?
Maybe that, man, that's hard to say too.
Yeah.
It's just, I find it so hard to believe that somebody can do that and then be okay. Because I mean, I always say I don't give a fuck, but I give a little fuck. You know, I'm not out here. I can't.
You got a conscience, you know.
Yeah, I can't do all this.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, I feel like he is somewhat of a genius. I mean, this man creates culture. At the end of the day, if you can't give Kanye credit for anything, you could give him credit for creating culture. I mean, the man, he's a musician, a producer that single-handedly affected streetwear the way that he did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's played a huge hand. I mean, people can go and say like, well, he took from this, and that, but he's the one that had a huge platform, and the waves that he made with streetwear is unreal.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is, it's like the funniest shit is the whole dad shoes trend.
Oh my God, people hate it. I fucking hate
when that first started trending, I was like, that's fucking garbage, and I still to this day. But
the Wave Runners, I did not like those.
But Kanye was like, he actually said something about that. So his thinking process around it was, so like I saw some of these tastemakers starting to wear these dad shoes. And maybe they were doing it kind of like more tongue in cheek, and it was supposed to be like sarcastic or even, you know, like parodying what dads are like. But he's like, I'm a literal person. I just took it literally. So I saw the tastemakers wearing it, and I literally said, that must be what's popular. So I'm going to start fucking with dad shoes.
That's so fucking funny, man.
And then he made it this worldwide trend, you know?
That's so crazy. It's that kind of reminds me of when I watch some of these people who break down films, right? So I forgot what this YouTube channel is. People probably know this shit, but they break down certain films, and they kind of break it down in a digestible form for somebody like us who we don't really know a lot of film terminology and how these directors come out with the composition of their shots. And they're super intricate, right? They draw these lines. They say that you could tell by the way this light is here is to shape this area to basically exact this type of emotion. And then I remember I saw this other video where there was a filmmaker, and I can't remember who this is. Somebody could look this up for me, but I was dying laughing because this guy broke down why this film was this way,
right?
And then this person edited another clip where somebody asked them about the composition of a particular shot, and he goes, I just used the lens because I thought it looked good.
That's always the funniest shit, you know, when it's like that. Yeah,
like people kind of sometimes overanalyze shit. You add a lot of this hoity-toity stain to it when sometimes people just have a good eye for art, and that is what it is.
Yeah,
because they were breaking down why this director specifically used like a 35 or a 50 millimeter lens, and why he chose that focal length. And he was just like, I put it on, I thought it looked good.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it. Yeah. That's simple sometimes. I mean, that's the thing, man, is that whenever you try to look too deep into something, you'll find dots to connect. You know what I mean? And that's where like those conspiracy theories and all that shit come from. But sometimes it's just like, you got to take it at face value, man. There's not always a deeper meaning.
Dude, I'll tell you this fucking funny story too about Brian McKnight. So Brian McKnight, first of all, I'm a huge Brian McKnight fan. The way that I sing, all my runs, everything else is based off of this man.
Oh, the dude's a legend, man.
Yeah, I idolize this guy, right? So Brian McKnight, a friend of mine did a photo shoot She's a photographer. And then she told me something. It was a little devastating, but everybody knows that song fucking 6812. Like, well, you're like a dream come true. Yeah. Everybody loves that song and is talking about these numerical steps to how he fell in love with somebody, right? And this fool told her, she asked him kind of how he came up with that song. It didn't go into the expose or the piece. Yeah. But she told me that he told her that he came up with that while he was taking a shit and he was looking at an IKEA pamphlet about how to build a table. And so that's how he developed that song 6812. I'm not sure if it was IKEA, but it was some type of furniture shit. Yeah. And that's how he came up with 6812.
Hey man, whatever the creative process, like I said, whatever the creative process is, whatever it took to create a masterpiece, I ain't mad at it.
That shit was devastating though. Because I love this song. I feel like I know a majority of the R&B music that I went for based on the romantic relationships that I tried to have growing up, just specifically me just getting dumped or rejected. So that's why I know. So when I was how old was I? 19 or 20? 19 or 20, I was like dumped by my very first girlfriend. Yeah. Right. From that point on, I could recite almost every Boyz II Men, Bribe at Night.
You were in your feelings.
I remember this one. I could remember exactly how it was. I remember I made this mixtape for my own heartbreak. Yeah. And then I just hit that CD player.
You made a mixtape for yourself.
I made a mixtape for myself, and I laid in bed, and I remember crying so much that the tears were going into my ears, dude. And I couldn't hear because I kept crying into my ear holes.
That's one of the saddest shit.
I don't give a fuck.
Oh, dog, my God.
I was devastated. And that's why I knew all these like obscure Boyz II Men songs that weren't radio hits is because I had their shit on repeat. Yeah. And that was back in the day when we used to download our shit through BitTorrents.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, before the Spotify and all these streaming content, we had to download that shit. And every song that I had to download, by the way, you motherfuckers, was like one track was 3 hours to get because I had like 56K. So you have to understand how much I love that music to take 3 weeks to have one mixtape. And I cried my ass off. Fuck that bitch. I fucking loved you, ho. I fucking loved you.
How long was the relationship?
Like a year.
Oh, okay. That's still, hey, for high school.
She was like my very first girlfriend. I mentioned her so many times, and it's funny because I haven't been after her. I didn't get into a lot of serious relationships because I was so dedicated into one person. I kind of realized how close-minded I was. Yeah. Specifically for somebody who wanted to be a stand-up comic and who wanted to have life experiences. Yeah. Yeah. I kind of chose to be this, I would say, a one-woman man, like as if I was like polyamorous or anything like that, but more in the sense of all I wanted for myself was like the white picket fence, a house, and to be married to this one girl. And I wanted to be a stand-up
at 18 years old.
But I'm from Sacramento. We were a small town. Yeah. You know, so I was like, how the fuck are you gonna do this and be a stand-up comic? I didn't really think about that. Yeah. I just thought about her. Yeah. And then
you're like romanticizing this like picture book.
Dog, I remember this one point because she and I were, after I broke up, we were still kind of like on this weird like friendship thing. I remember I told her, I was like, fuck this shit. And I had this moment where I'm like, I can't be in Sacramento anymore. And I looked at her, I was like, I'm going to just fucking buy a one bus ticket to LA and never come back. And she looked at me like I was the dumbest fucking person on that. She goes, why a bus ticket? I'm like, bitch, because I'm broke, dude. That's why a bus ticket. Don't fucking question me.
Because that's what you do when you're fucking sad and heartbroken. You take a fucking Greyhound, all right? And you buy a fucking 40 and you're drunk.
I was like, you did this to me. What the fuck are you talking about? And I think I would just say that shit to her just to elicit a reaction out of her as a young person because I wanted almost her to feel bad. It's like, bitch, you're the reason why I know all these Brian McKnight songs. So it's because of you motherfucker.
Man, when you're 18, 19 years old, man, you gotta be thinking about fucking Skittles taste of rainbow. You gotta experience.
Not me, dude. I wanted to get married. I wanted to have kids. I actually wanted to be a teacher.
Right. Right.
Which is weird. Like when I look back at this timeline, I'm trying to figure out when these thoughts happened, right? Because I wanted to be a teacher. I remember I wanted to be a stand-up comic, and I started doing stand-up when I was 16. So somewhere in between me still wanting to be a stand-up comedian, I also wanted to be a teacher. But how the fuck was that going to work out?
How do all these things coexist, man? Having the white picket fence and marriage or kids.
I didn't think about that shit. None of this shit made sense.
It doesn't. That would, I mean, that would be a huge accomplishment if you were able to balance all of that.
Yeah, I didn't really think out anything as a kid. Like I just wanted what I wanted at the time.
But that's the beauty of it though, bro. That's the beauty of imagination. That's the beauty of like being kind of naive, right? That's why it's like you still have that pureness somewhat, you know? And that's why I like love when kids are just able to kind of like be free and just kind of like express themselves in the way they express themselves. Because seeing that, it's like, did I remember that? I remember what it was like to not have all these responsibilities and have all these things that affect your decision-making process.
Yeah.
Because it kills that inner child in you little by little, you know?
I feel like I'm going to be the parent that when my kid comes up and he draws something stupid in front of me, I'm going to fucking tell him it's dumb.
What the fuck is this bullshit?
I'm really going to do my best not to do that shit. I'm going to do my fucking best. When they come up and they're like, Dad, I got this great idea.
Yeah.
I want to make these little spinach bowls and then sell it to the other kids, and so I can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I think as an adult, as a parent, you want to encourage them and support this idea and say, hey, you know what? That's a good idea. I'm going to help cook that spinach for you, and then we're going to sell it out in the street and just go out there. I feel like that's what good parents should do.
Yeah. Are you a fucking idiot?
I'm probably I'm going to look at him and be like, are you fucking dumb? Who the fuck is going to buy your spinach? What are you, Popeye, bitch?
Yeah.
Throw that shit in the fucking garbage can and sell something real.
I mean, that's going to be kind of the challenge though, right? Of being a parent, right? Because like now you have to take what you've learned and kind of like your life experience and like not necessarily apply it to the kid at certain points in their life.
You gotta let them explore.
Yeah.
This podcast is brought to you by Me Undies. Have you ever looked at a pair of your underwear and wondered why you chose to have this shred of sandpaper covering your delicates? You're asking yourself these questions because you don't own a wonderful pair of Me Undies. The crap you have on now is hideous and you should be ashamed of yourself. Well, no more, you sons of sexy bitches. You deserve better. Super fun prints, amazing fabric, and it's just dope to have some boxers I can feel sexy in. And not only do they have the best undies, they got pajamas, tops, bottoms that are fucking comfortable as well. Listen, between you and me, I usually sleep butt naked, but these are so comfortable, I can feel butt naked without being butt naked. That's a DavidSo guarantee. MeUndies has a great offer for my listeners. For any first-time purchasers, you get 15% off and free shipping. To get 15% off your first order, free shipping, 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/brain. That's MeUndies.com/brain. One more time to get this offer. That's MeUndies.com/brain.
But it might be a little bit hard, you know, because you might be having a bad day one day and then you look at that and you're like, the fuck is this bullshit?
Sometimes I'll be looking at these kids and they kind of draw their shit for their parents. They're like, look what I did. And the parents are like, that's the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I'm like, you fucking liar.
Hey,
that shit's trash.
But no. To be honest, like when you see this like existing being that came from your fucking balls, right? And they're a living, breathing human being, that shit might be incredible. You know, that like...
Yeah, when you see... Oh, it's like, oh, because you saw them from conception till now. It's like, oh shit, like I can't believe...
Yeah, like they're actually fucking doing something now. So I can't understand that because I don't have a kid. So
yeah.
I have no clue what that feeling must be like. But I can kind of imagine of thinking, man, like Dave Chappelle said, you were inside my balls, man.
Yeah.
And now you're this fucking human being who's coloring outside the lines. And,
dude, Dave Chappelle's, I thought it was it's not even a stand-up special where he did where he just opened up that tent and God knows where. And then he talked about the whole George Floyd situation. Yeah. That shit was amazing.
Yeah, that
shit made me laugh and that shit made me cry. Yeah. I was like, I'm fucking tearing up.
Yeah.
Something about the way Dave Chappelle speaks, it kind of, he does it with such conviction, right?
For sure.
And this fool said some of the funniest shit, but he said some of the most poignant stuff too.
And it flips like that on a dime.
Yeah.
You know, he's like leading into what you think is a joke, but then it doesn't go all the way there, and then he flips the script on you, and you're like, oh shit, I wasn't ready for that, but that was fucking powerful. You know, I mean, he has the gift of gab, man. He's like a master of speech, and he like master of timing. He just knows how to hit it right in the pocket, right in the feels. And you know, I feel thankful to have somebody like that during my lifetime, just to provide that type of social commentary, who's also a comedian, right? And to, you know, just be able to laugh at it and also kind of give you more perspective on the situation, because the dude is a fucking intelligent guy, man.
Yeah, I don't know why about the way he sets up jokes that I think typically that when most comics would tackle the way he does, say sometimes insensitive things. I don't know how he does it in a way where typically stuff that I probably would find offensive, I find so funny.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does that shit.
I think it's like he just knows how, like he's mastered the art of being real. You know what I mean? Like
do you think PC culture has gone too far when it comes to comedy?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, because the thing is, just in general, not just comedy, but just in general, I think it's gone a little bit too far with things. Like, people are so hypersensitive to everything, you know? And it's like, look, man, I understand that it might be something that is near and dear to your heart for whatever reason, but at the end of the day, it's like, dude, if we can't laugh at certain things, then what the fuck is the point of living? Like, if we're so serious and uptight about everything all the time, and those things exist to kind of lighten it. Not to necessarily like attack a certain topic or to like you know, be like, I hate a certain type of people. It's just all in good-natured fun, and like, again, going back to Dave Chappelle, I think he's a master of that. Yeah. Like, you can tell he's not a fucking hateful person.
There's no like malicious intent.
Yeah, there isn't. He's just seriously like making a joke about it, and if you can't laugh at it, I feel sorry for you, to tell you the truth. Yeah. Because I don't feel like you're really taking advantage of what life has to offer, you know?
Because I think sometimes people convolute where, you know, because I do a lot of these videos where I roast people, right? Yeah. And like, it's like literally 70% comedy, 30% some serious thought, right? And when it comes down to it, like, I always use an example of people like, well, what if they make like jokes about Asian people? I'm like, let me tell you something. If there was nuance to it, and they're kind of delving into like some type of Asian thought that I could relate, I probably fucking laugh. Yeah. And I always use Russell Peters for an example. When Russell Peters did that Chinese accent, dude, Chinese people, Asian people, we cracked the fuck up because of how accurate and nuanced it was, right? Dave Chappelle too, he did the stand-up where he did that. He was like, hey, I'm Chinese. And he was talking about if he could choose whatever identity he could be, right? So that's like the root of the joke. I can laugh at that nuance, right? Yeah. But when you're just attacking it without making me laugh, that's where it becomes a little odd, right? And there's also stuff too where sometimes people like to make examples of these comedic jokes without giving context, and also too without telling people how it was presented, right? Because nothing is ever black and white in that type of sense. Specifically when it comes to comedy, I want comedy to be able to live. And I think sometimes people, or what I have been reading a lot is like, oh, you comics think that you could say whatever you want because it's a joke. Yeah. Not just us, you too. Yeah. As long as the joke is perceived well and is taken by the right crowd. If my thing is this, if there was no malicious intent and 60% of or 70% of the room is laughing and there's 30% that's offended, I might be in that 30% crowd that's offended by it, right? Right. But I won't be shouting out, you should cancel this person. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Cancel this motherfucking person. Yeah. And I think like Kevin Hart always touched on it too, where he thinks cancel culture when it comes to comedy is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, shit, again, cancel culture in general is pretty ridiculous right now. Yeah. You know? Yeah, there are people who have done some pretty horrendous things, Harvey Weinstein being one of them. Yeah. Canceling a guy like that, absolutely. There is nothing to disagree about on that.
Yeah, it's not even cancel. He should be in jail.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like things like that, of course, but
because somebody made a joke that hurt your feelings. Yeah. Because even when it came to that guy, so remember that guy that was casted in SNL, that dude Shane Gillis?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
You know, I was like irritated about what he said because there wasn't any joke. And then he later on, he goes, I was just doing a comedic bit. I was like, you weren't doing a comedic bit. That was just your opinion about how dirty you thought Asian people were. Right. And they're like, he should be canceled. I was like, I don't know about that. I think he should still be able to work for SNL. He's a comic. If he really thought that was a bit, then fine, whatever. But it's kind of odd how that power is in people's hands to do that. Yeah, man. And it's a simple thing. It's like, if you don't find him funny from here on out, don't support his ticket sales. Right. Right.
And here's the thing is that are people not allotted mistakes? You know what I mean? Sometimes you need to make that mistake in order for you to reflect on it and get better from it. sometimes, yeah, you might say something that's misguided or ignorant, and then somebody calls you out on it. And, the hope from there is that you're able to reflect on it. Like, be able to be honest with yourself, not get so defensive, not put your shields up, be like, okay, maybe there's a possibility here that I fucked up. Maybe I got to look into what it is that I'm thinking and what it is that I said, or what it is that I did even, and reevaluate this and then learn from it. But then if you're talking about, because this person fucked up, we should cancel this person, then you're essentially saying people aren't allowed to make mistakes. Sometimes people do stupid things. And
especially when it's in the past, right? And then you haven't seen these type of behaviors reflected in who they are now.
Yeah.
Then I honestly, what's the whole point of digging something up that happened 10 years ago that isn't a reflection of the person that you see before you, the content that they create, right? So I'll give a great example. So I have a couple friends of mine. They did this video. They basically played this game, and it's terrible. Not even in hindsight, what they did, it was pretty bad, right? And so they were drawing this. This is what the game is. Let me just preface that. So the game was, you have a hat, and inside this hat are a bunch of people that it is impossible to make fun of, right? That is the whole shtick of the game.
Okay.
And so they had a lot of people in it. They had like Jesus, whatever, the Dalai Lama, whoever you can name it. One of the names that was in that hat was Trayvon Martin.
Okay.
It got drawn, and the person who made that joke wasn't my friends. It was it was Shane Dawson, who he's under a fire for a lot of things. We'll talk about that another time. And he made a joke about Trayvon Martin, the kid who was murdered. And he said, maybe you wouldn't have gotten murdered if you had a job. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck were you thinking? Right? But they got burned because they laughed at the joke. Doesn't help that they're white.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so they put out a public apology video, and you guys know who they are. They're Steve and Nikki. So Steve and Nikki put out a public apology video. The first one that they did wasn't that great. I don't think they worded it very well. I think they got scared, and so they wanted to put out a quick apology video. But they did a second one, which was a lot better, and they apologized for it. They apologized how it hurt the community, specifically in these times right now. And a lot of people were asking me, it's like, well, you're doing these, why don't you roast them? I was like, because they apologized. They were quick about it. They apologized. They made these videos. And because they are my personal friends, do they get preferential treatment? Of course they fucking do. We have a personal fucking relationship. Before I even got to contact them, they already apologized.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do I need to do? Call them up and be like, hey, you should apologize. They already did. So they knew that they fucked up. They knew that it happened in the past, and they already put that video down before the whole BLM movement happened. They didn't take it down because of BLM. They took it down years ago because they looked back on it and they thought it was fucked up. But there was a kid named Jay Versace, who I do follow. This kid's fucking funny. He put their stuff out and he put them on blast. And so they took that small clip, and I think like the original apology, it was done kind of too suddenly. So it kind of came off as if they were trying to make excuses for their behavior, but it really wasn't the case. And when they came out with the second apology, which is how they really felt, and they better worded it, it showed change, right? And I know them personally. They don't have like a hateful racist bone in their fucking body. And because I have that personal relationship and I haven't seen that from them in the 3-4 years that I've known, I can vouch for them and say that. They still have to apologize, which they already did. So what's the whole point of me taking the clip of the video and doing an angry rant about them when I can just talk to them mano a mano?
And that's the biggest fundamental difference, though, is that, some of these people that you've roasted, they get defensive and actually double down sometimes.
Yes, they do.
On what they said. They're not taking a moment to reflect and being like, oh shit, maybe I did something wrong or said something wrong here. Maybe I should, reevaluate and apologize. I mean, some of these people are not doing that. So when you've taken the moment to reflect on what it is that you did, and everybody processes it differently. You could learn about it same day, or you might need to take a week or 2 weeks or whatever, right? But whatever the case is, once you come to the conclusion, I fucked up here, and since I did that publicly, I need to offer up an apology publicly as well. Then what is there to roast about that? And
they already apologized.
And look, I could see the argument of, but they only did it because they got attacked. Again, there are plenty of other people who are getting attacked who will not offer you an apology, who will double down on what they're saying, get defensive about what they're saying, and stick to their guns, you know?
Yeah, and like I said, I know them. I've had personal conversations with them, and their situation too I mean, Nikki, she's like part Filipino and whatever, right? Yeah. But that girl's white as fuck. She's as white as it fucking gets, you know? And, you know, the girl grew up around a majority of fucking white people. And, you know, Steve is as white as it gets. It doesn't help Steve's case that he looks like a KKK member too. I'm fucking with you, Steve. I love you. But, you know, he looks like prototypically he could be a racist. You know, if you take a look at him. But in their case, I know them. So yeah, they do get a pass because I could just talk to them personally. I don't have to do a rant video. I know them. Yeah. I can call them up and be like, bro, what the fuck were you thinking? Yeah. But then when I saw the video, it was from years ago. And I know that they already took that video down before because they knew how dumb it was. Yeah. They already learned from this. I haven't seen the reflection in that. So these people have grown from the situation. Yeah. So what's the whole point of beating somebody down and try to correct the behavior? They've already corrected themselves.
And look, that's what I'm saying is like people are, one, super hypersensitive, and two is they won't do their due diligence as well. Because sometimes it's like they'll, you know, something's going on, an event or whatever, and you know, I'll look at Twitter as one of the outlets for like real-time news updates, and then I'll see certain things like maybe supplemental evidence coming out of a certain incident, right? There's a behavior of this pattern, whatever. But sometimes that's just straight up bullshit. It's just straight up made up, you know? And people start thinking, oh yeah, that's valid evidence because somebody tweeted it and posted it out. You know? It's like, nah, you got to do your due diligence too. Do they have a history of this behavior, you know? Or is this more like a momentary lapse in judgment? Is just a fuck up, right? And can they come back from this?
Yeah, it's because a lot of some of y'all motherfuckers act like you're perfect. If I look, the only difference between you and some of these other people, and I guarantee you probably done way more fucked up things than these people have and haven't learned from it, is that they're in the public eye, they're public figures.
For sure.
You're no fucking different, and some of you are 10 times fucking worse. Like there was I'll give the greatest example. Remember that one girl who wore that Chinese dress for her prom? And then people were flipping out about it, saying it was cultural appropriation, that this Chinese dress isn't your fucking costume or whatever. But this Asian dude that attacked her, people found his tweets and he was dropping the N-bomb with the hard R. Like, bitch, who the fuck do you think you are? You're talking about cultural appropriation and being racist? You're 10 times worse. Right. She just wore a dress and she looked good. And the funny thing was in that situation, people in China were like, what's the problem? She looked good. Like, she looked so good. Like, what's the problem, man? You know, they were tripping. But this guy wanted to make a big deal about it because for some reason it bothered him when he's the one going around saying racial obscenities about another culture and another race. So how are you any different? So it makes me wonder about people who are pointing these fingers so fucking hard. Like what are the closets that you're hiding? Or the skeletons in your closet that you're hiding?
I mean, the thing is that sometimes that's the shame about technology is that, you know, it's enabled a lot of these trolls and a lot of these keyboard warriors to basically say whatever they want to say without repercussion, and kind of free of guilt and having a conscience. Because guarantee you're not going to say that shit to their face. You know,
of course not. You would never say that.
You don't have the balls to do that, you know?
I don't have the balls. I think I fucking do that shit in my car, son.
So, but it makes it so easy. Makes it so easy to just, you know, put somebody on blast like that. And then to feel empowered by it once people start kind of supporting what it is that you're saying.
Man, I'll put it to you like this, man. I know a lot of people might think I'm being very hypocritical because I roast people, but remember, like, I'm a comic. First thing is to make you laugh, right? And you know, sometimes with comedy, there's a little bit of seriousness, and that's why it hits a little harder. Some of those videos weren't comedy; it was just my thoughts. But just to put in perspective, one of these dudes, I forgot what his name was. He was a Korean rapper, and he was saying some fucked up shit, specifically about the BLM. He was like, "I understand the campaign." He goes, "Fuck that shit. You guys can't take anything away from me." And he was going off. And I even messaged him. I was like, "Bro, if you full-heartedly apologize and you can sit there and reflect on it, I'll take this video down. No problem." He put out this half-assed fucking apology. I was like, nah. It's not happening, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not telling people to cancel him.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I was just more like
just calling him out,
calling you out for it.
Yeah.
You don't have to cancel him. You guys can support his music or whatever, whatnot. That's up to you.
Just know what you're supporting.
Know what you're supporting. And so in his case, I even messaged him. I said, you can apologize. If you apologize, I'll take your fucking video down.
Yeah.
And he did this quick little half-assed thing. And I'm like, nah, it stays up. You know, it stays up.
Try again.
Try again. It's weird too when it comes, and there may be a time where I have to apologize for something that I said, right? And I say a lot of crass and insensitive things, very crass and insensitive, and I might have to do an apology, man.
Yeah. I mean, that is kind of the price that you pay being in the public eye.
And I wonder sometimes too if I have to take a stand for comedy, or if it's something where it's just so wrong that I'm gonna have to apologize for it. It is what it is. Like sometimes when I do this podcast, I'm like, did I say some fucked up shit? You know, but I was like, well, I'm a comic. I'm making jokes. You know, like there's no malicious intent, and it should be. Yeah. If it's perceived fine, it is. Yeah. My thing is like if 90% perceive it fine and 10% find it offensive, you can suck my dick. Yeah. That means that I did my due diligence.
Well, I mean, look, man, again, I think it's like the overall picture. You know, does this person have a behavior of like being negative or like, you know, being hateful, right? Or is it just a joke, you know? And I feel like that line has become such a gray area. And like people think it's crossing the line every time now.
I know a lot of people who make like just a joke and it offends me, but sometimes I just let it slide because I'm like, oh, this motherfucker just tried to make a joke and it didn't work. Yeah. You know, like I can't be up in arms about that shit because it makes me into a hypocrite because I'm a comic. I say fucked up shit all the time. And I sometimes have to look at these people and be like, man, you had a fucked up set and just move on from it. Like for example, I was at the post office and this dude was trying to relate to me in some kind of way. This was pre-COVID. This was like a few years back. Okay. But he was like, you could tell like he was trying to make like funny Asian jokes because he had a couple of Asian friends. Yeah. I don't know this motherfucker. So clearly I'm going to find it offensive. Yeah. You know, but he was making like some like Korean jokes. I forgot what it was, but it had something to do with like kimchi and how it smells or some shit.
I knew it.
Right. Some shit like that. Right. Yeah. And I just kind of just looked at him. I'm like, smiled. And I had to really think at that moment. It's like, he's actually trying to be nice. Yeah. You know, he's actually not trying to be offensive and he's trying to make jokes and make me laugh. It's not working. But I'm not going to get into his face, have a side conversation with this guy and be like, fuck you, guy. Yeah. Like, you need to cut that shit out. Yeah. Because for me, I saw his intent. He was trying to relate. And I could tell he has Korean friends because he wouldn't know these things unless he knew something about Korean people. So I'm just like, whatever, let it go. It's a bad set. Yeah. You know, it's a bad set.
You tried, you shot your shot, but oh, man.
All I did was like, haha, okay, man, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Get the fuck away from me.
You know, sometimes too, though, people are kind of socially awkward or just not very socially adept, you know?
Dog, man, I run into those situations all these times with sometimes these people who they're not really fans. They kind of know of me in a peripheral sense, but they try to act super cool. And I don't give a fuck if you know me or not. I don't care. Yeah. Like, why do you have to fucking puff your chest so hard? So I was at Kangho-do Baekjeom, right? The KBBQ spot. Yeah. Bomb ass place, man. Shout out to Kangho-do. So
give him a sponsor.
I know, let me eat there for free, dog. But I was there and this guy, you know, he's serving our table and he looks at me and he goes like, oh, you look kind of familiar, which that means you already know who the fuck I am. You already know who the fuck I am, right? Yeah. I have a very distinct cookie face. He goes, you kind of look familiar. He's like, do I know you from somewhere? I was like, nah, probably not. Yeah. You know, because just you saying that already irritates me. Yeah. Right? Because I have to do this whole song and dance over and over and over. And I understand, like, maybe some people are awkward, so I don't get mad about it. It's just kind of like I have to do this so many times. Yeah. And I'm like, probably not, right? And then I'm just trying to eat and chill. And he goes, oh, okay. He goes, I do know you, man. And he's like, you're on YouTube and stuff. I was like, thanks, man. He goes, yeah. He's like, I used to watch your stuff like back in the day. And I'm like, cool, thanks, man. And I'm trying to eat. Yeah. I appreciate it. And then he comes back and he leaves. And I think he's trying to be funny or something. And I'm sitting there. And as we're eating, he looks at me and he goes, oh, is that your bag? He goes, it's kind of like a female like bag. It's kind of girly for a big dude like you. And I look at him and I remember, I forgot who was next to me, but I remember exactly what I said. I looked at him, I said, you're bombing. Yeah. He's like, what? I was like, you're fucking bombing. Nobody's laughing. I was like, if that's the set that you're working on,
Yeah.
you're bombing.
Yeah.
Get the fuck away from me and bring me your manager.
Yeah.
Right? And I came back, and because it was like he was trying to make a joke at my expense.
Yeah.
You know, he was like trying to make the group laugh at the table at me. And I'm like, bro, if you just did that to me, whatever. But now you're trying to be Mr. Cool Guy. Like you're trying to be the guy that roasts other people.
Yeah.
And so you just sit there and the whole table's laughing at him. He's super embarrassed.
Yeah.
You know? And he goes, oh, I didn't know you were sensitive. I was like, no, come back. I'm like, I'm not sensitive. I'm sitting here. I don't know you. And you're making this very awkward. I was like, why do you want to make this awkward?
Yeah.
I was like, just be nice.
I'm just trying to eat my meal,
Yeah, I'm
bro.
just trying to eat, man. I was like, you want to talk to me after? Don't make this whole scene in front of my friends.
Yeah.
Just go away.
Yeah.
The manager came out, had to apologize to me. And then afterwards, I came up to him too. I didn't leave it at that. I was like, hey, bro, like, no, I'm not trying to get you in trouble or something, but you know that was kind of fucked up what you were trying to do.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, my bad, man. I apologize. He was like, he's just like trying to say sorry. I'm like, it's like, I'm not mad. It's just more like
You're irritated.
I was irritated.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to make fun of me at my expense in front of my friends.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to be Mr. Cool Guy.
Yeah.
Cut that shit out. If you wanted to talk to me about stuff, we could have talked.
Time and place, bro.
Time and place is
Time
all.
and place.
You know? Nice dude.
Yeah. It's like, and the thing is, you're supposed to be a server. Like,
Yeah, he's like, you're still supposed to do your job.
Yeah,
I think that was the thing that annoyed me the most.
Yeah.
Get me my food.
Yeah, like what server is gonna come here and try to, clown on you?
Yeah.
You know? Like, if like, let's say the context was different of this was just a regular group of people and a regular server, and the server decided to try to roast one of those people.
Yeah.
How do you think that's gonna go over?
Exactly. And I was like, why did you think my group of friends were going to sit there and allow you to do that?
Yeah.
And there was one dude that was going to slap the shit out of him. And I was like, bro, what are you doing, kid? And, like, and my friends too, these are like, I remember it's my homies from Sacramento. And they just were like irritated because they're not used to this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And they're like, is this why people talk to you all the time?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
How old was he? About?
I don't know. He had to be in his mid-20s though.
Okay,
like
that's pretty bad.
Yeah, he's in his mid-20s. He's
Yeah.
out of college for sure.
Yeah.
Like he didn't look that young. If
Yeah.
he's like a 14, 15-year-old, whatever.
Yeah.
But he was an adult.
Yeah.
And so, my friends are fucking irritated because
Yeah.
they're not used to this shit.
Yeah.
I'm not personally used to it either.
Yeah.
So, because I feel like 99% of the people, they just come up and say hi and that's it. And then
Right.
we'll even have like long, deep conversations if I really click with them. And it's great. And people can attest to that. Is that approach was really odd.
No, that was honestly a big lapse in judgment, and like, to be fair, I can see, like, let's say he wasn't a like actual fan of yours, like a current fan, and maybe he was just trying to downplay how much of a fan he is, by saying, oh, where do I know you from, that type of shit.
Yeah.
And so like the approach to that of kind of trying to offset and mask, like his excitement might come. For some people might come out in a very awkward way,
Yeah. And I understand like the awkwardness too, because that's the stuff that I'm cool with.
Yeah.
Right. Like I get awkward too when I see somebody that I like. Right. But then it's just when he came in hard and he tried to make these jokes, it was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, just say hi.
Yeah.
Like, just say hi. Be normal around me,
Or just talk to me after.
Or talk to me after or something. But you trying to do a stand-up set every time you came back from the table and it's at my expense, anybody would take that offensively. Not just me, just anybody as a human being.
For sure. It's just, look, man, you don't fucking go to a restaurant for the server to try to roast you.
I know. I'm trying to eat my fucking food.
Yeah. There's a restaurant, I think, up in the Bay that does that. Where
it's like Seattle or Portland. Portland or some shit.
Yeah. Or is it one of those places? Yeah. But it's like, if you're not going and paying for an experience like that, I just came here to eat and just to have my food brought out to me.
Do you remember that one time where it was like me, you, and Z, we were eating at that breakfast place on Sunset, and there was that one weird kid that sat at our table? Do you remember that shit?
You're gonna have to jog my memory.
So
we
were eating at the spot. First of all, I hate going to Sunset. I hate that whole area. But it was Z's idea because he likes bougie ass shit. And so, man, you don't remember that. I remember this shit because we were gonna fuck this kid up. Because
it got to that level.
It got to that point.
Oh shit!
Because we were sitting at the table. It was me, you, and Z, and we were having brunch because it was like a waffle or pancake spot.
Okay.
But this kid was also one of those guys that were trying to be Mr. Cool Guy, super funny. And as we're sitting there, we're eating, he pulls up his chair and sits at our table as we were eating. You don't remember this shit?
I don't.
I remember this shit like it's yesterday. So it was you, me, and Z. We're sitting there, and he tries to throw a couple of jokes. I don't remember what the jokes were.
Yeah.
But it was getting to the point, and I remember you were the one that was irritated first.
I don't know why I don't remember.
Because we were talking about some shit, and he just kept interrupting our conversation, and he kept on throwing jokes. Didn't introduce himself. Didn't say anything. So
really?
We didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't think he was a fan. So he just kept on making these like stupid jokes.
Yeah.
And after a while we were eating and he pulls up his chair and he sits next to us and he brings his plate and starts eating his food at our table.
Holy shit.
You don't remember this shit?
I don't, man.
Dog, and you got fucking mad, and which caused me to get mad, right? And then I literally walked over to the next table. I was like, is this your fucking friend? They're like, oh shit, my bad. We're so sorry. And I grabbed this chair and I dragged him all the way to the other table. I was like, you eat here. Don't fucking come up to us or I'm going to fuck you up.
Yeah. Holy shit, man.
And you were staring so hard at him.
Yeah.
And I got mad for you.
Holy shit, man.
That was the worst interaction I've ever had in my life.
I mean, just hearing it is terrible. And like I would get irritated if that happened, you know?
And he just started like, he was so fucking rude to us. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And it turned out that he just knew me on YouTube and he was trying to make fun of me or some shit. And then after he saw all three of us were fucking irritated, I was getting mad. And I don't think he realized how big I was. You know? He got super fucking quiet and we just kept staring at him until he got up and he left. You know, but then his other friends apologized. They're like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, yeah.
Was it an Asian kid?
It was an Asian kid.
Oh, man,
trying to be fucking funny.
Dude, I can't remember this, man. But no, for sure, if that happened, I would get fucking irritated.
You remember that one girl when we went to Hodori and she was throwing ice at us?
No.
Damn, your memory sucks.
Dude.
Dog, you got hella mad. So there's a spot up in K-Town called Hodori. And that's a spot. So me and Edric used to be insomniacs. He still is. I'm not.
Yeah.
But we used to. So that's like the late night spot after we would go drinking, kicking it, or whatever. And when I lived in K-Town, I lived there for about 6 years, and drinking and eating was our thing.
Yeah.
We were at Hodori, and there was a girl that was saying like, "Oh, I know who you are. You're that one fucking funny guy." It's like, make a joke, say something funny, and then you, in defense of me, turned around. It's like, "Hey, we're trying to eat.
Yeah.
You know, could you mind just?"
I remember that. I do remember that. I do remember that. Yes, I do.
Remember? And then she got fucking mad, and as we're talking, she started chucking ice cubes at you. Remember that shit?
I do.
And then I was getting fucking pissed.
Yeah.
And then I just remember I was looking at her, and then we were saying some shit, and I think the thing that got them scared is because she was with one boyfriend. There's like 4 or 5 of us at the table.
Yeah.
I just remember saying this shit. I was like, hey, nobody's gonna fucking slap you, but we'll beat the fuck out of your fucking boyfriend. Right? And then the dude was telling her to go shut the fuck up.
Chill.
It's like, yo, chill.
Yeah.
There's like 5 of us. I was like, we're gonna fuck up your boyfriend, right? We're gonna fuck him up.
I do remember that. I do, because I remember she was pretty drunk.
Yeah.
You know, and she was to the back of me. Yeah, and I was like, dude, this bitch is starting to irritate the shit out of me right now, man. It's like, what is she? And because she was slurring her speech too. Yeah, I thought that's like one of the most annoying shit to me, man. Yeah, I do remember that incident. But the other one, I don't remember that. And I'm surprised I don't remember like something that ridiculous.
That guy was being so fucking ridiculous, man. Yeah. Like he pulled up his chair, sat there.
Who does that?
I don't know.
Who fucking does
didn't
that?
Introduce himself, or even if he did, that would be inappropriate.
Right.
And I was
Let me just join y'all real quick.
Yeah, he's like,
because I recognize you.
I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but it was something stupid. And I was like, oh, what y'all eating? Blah, blah, blah. He goes, this shit's really good. He starts like munching it in front of our face and stuff. And I'm like, does he know me, or is he trying to be funny? I thought he was like one of your friends or something. And
my God.
And you could tell when the mood is getting really bad, and people could sense like, oh, somebody's about to get socked, right? And that's what, thank God his friends were there and they apologized or whatever. Because I was like, dog, I'm just going to I'm going to take this chair and smash it over this motherfucker's head.
It's about to become WWE right now, you know?
You know what I mean? I'm like, you're about to get beat by a really fat Korean guy right now.
Dude, but you know, that's the thing, man. Some people just are not perceptive at all. They don't have like they can't pick up on social cues. They don't know how to engage people socially, and as a result, it comes across as very offensive. But it's like, it's hard, man, for somebody in your position, because you're recognized, like people know you, and then there's kind of that sense of, oh, I know this guy because I've seen him so many times on YouTube or whatever, and there's a sense of familiarity. But then for you, you have no fucking clue who these people are. Yeah, it's not like you don't appreciate their support or anything, but it's like,
and I'm a lot of people who can attest when they meet me. I'm all about. I talk to anybody,
dude. I've seen it. I've seen it.
I chop it up with everybody. We talk about deep shit. We're all good.
Time and place, though. Yeah, time and place.
And like even this last college show that I went to, man, I got a bunch of these stories, man. There was one kid who, for some fucking, first of all, 30 years old now, man. Like, I don't find a 19-year-old girl attractive ever.
Especially Asian 19-year-old.
Yeah, like you guys look like you're 15.
Yeah.
And so I'm being super friendly. I'm joking around or whatever. And there was this one guy that was part of this Asian organization. And I could tell he really, really liked this one girl, right? But she was one of the people that were showing me around the college campus. I'm like fucking 11 years older than her, dude. And I have a fucking fiance. The fuck, Yeah. And so we're joking around, I'm making people laugh or whatever, and I feel like that's a part of my duty for these college people that take me out. Is not only they think it's their job to show me a good time, I actually think it's the opposite. I feel like it's my job to show you guys a good time, that I'm here to kick it, hang out, or do whatever. I'm here in service for you guys because you guys want me to come here and do this event, so why the fuck not? And so this dude was being super weird towards me and super salty. And I just remember the girl was like laughing because we were joking around. Super sweet girl. And this dude kept on making snarky comments to me, like about some stupid shit. And the one that really ticked me off was she was like, hey, are you going to come out to the after party? And I was like, honestly, I usually don't. But, if it's for you guys, like I'll be there. I'll have a couple of drinks. And, the guy, you could tell when somebody makes a joke when it's made to be either an awkward joke or it's made to try to with malicious intent. Right. And he made some kind of joke about me being really fucking old or whatever. Right. And I looked at him. I was like, she's not going to fuck you. Right. And it got fucking awkward. His face turned bright red. Yeah. I was like, she's not going to fuck you. I was like, I don't know if you haven't noticed. She doesn't like you. Yeah. Right. And then she started laughing, which didn't help him. And then he got super upset. And you could tell he was just in a bad mood. I was like, bro, you didn't have to do that to me. Yeah. I was like, why did you do that? Yeah. I was like, I'm not hitting on her, but because you try to make this. And when he made that joke, the whole room got silent. You could tell the air got really fucking weird. Cringy. So I had to say something to kind of break up this tension. I was like, she's not going to fuck you. Yeah. Just to let you know. I was like, she doesn't like you. You can't tell? Yeah. Right? And the kid got really awkward. And I had to take him aside and have a conversation with him. And I was like, hey, man, I don't like doing this shit. I was like, if you got a problem with me, say something. He goes, I don't have a problem with you, man. It's like, I was just making a joke. I was like, no, you weren't making a joke, man. Yeah. I was like, you think that I'm hitting on this fucking 19-year-old girl. Right. I was like, if you like her, just, you're going to have an after party. Like, hit on her then. Yeah. She's just showing me around. Yeah. And it's weird that I have to, and I'm talking to him like I'm his older uncle. Yeah. It's like.
Well, technically, you kind of are like.
Yeah, I'm his older uncle. It's like, what is going on? This is not a competition. I was like, bro, I'm 30. Yeah. And he apologized after. He's like, I'm sorry, man. It's like, I'm just like fucking stressed out because the show's over or whatever. Yeah. I was like, bro, but you made it really weird for everybody. Honestly, you should probably apologize because the whole room got silent. Everybody kind of got really weirded out and people are going to remember that shit.
Yeah. Sometimes, man, people go out on a limb to do something and they quickly instant regret, it's instant regret. Like, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. I'm saying this happens very few and far between. Yeah. This is a span of 10 years. I have maybe I don't know, 20 or 30 stories, which sounds like a lot, but after you travel and you do so many stand-up comedy shows, it's going to happen where somebody doesn't like you. Yeah. And it's just, what I do for a living.
Yeah, exactly. And also too, I think there's kind of the expectation when somebody is like a public figure in some sense that person's always on. Like they're human beings too, man. Yeah. They're not going to always be on whatever they're known for, whether they're a comedian, actor, musician, whatever the case is. And whatever you think their public persona is, and maybe you associate that with maybe their private persona. Like that's how you think they are. Man, sometimes people just don't want to be bothered, and it's like, and look, that is definitely something that comes with the territory. I understand that. That is a price that, people have to pay for that type of position that they're in, but it doesn't mean that they can't have a negative reaction to it either,
Yeah, especially when you're trying to be mean to me.
Right. That's a whole different thing.
Like when you're if you're awkward or whatever, then that's fine. Yeah. Because I'm awkward too. Yeah. Like I'm super awkward. I have social anxiety, so I get it. It's just when you try to disrespect me, it's like it's like
publicly.
I was like, I'm socially awkward, but that shit goes away when I get mad. Yeah. So let's fucking do it, guy. Shit, man. Well, guys, that wraps up this episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. By the way, when you hear these stories, this is not how it is most of the time. This is like these funny, intricate stories. I have a million of these stories, but majority of the time people are really cool.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I've been there with you countless times when people come up, and as long as they're respectful, as long as they're picking a good time and place for it, you have no problem obliging them. Most of the time it's, oh my God, David, I'm a big fan. Can I get a picture? Yeah, sure. Let's take a picture. That's it. You chop it up for a minute or two and then they're off on their way, right? You said, pat their butt, get on out of here.
Get out of here, buddy.
But then it's these, pockets of not the greatest interactions.
Yeah, and sometimes I make mistakes too. Like I remember when I was as this is ongoing joke sometimes that I do. I don't do it as much now, but there was somebody that came up to me and he was like, "Hey David, do you mind if I get a picture?" I was like, "Fuck you." This kid was like,
he devastated
he was
him.
like, "I'm so sorry." I was like, "Bro, I was just kidding. I'm kidding," right? And then he was like shaking because he was so nervous. And then I said "fuck you" to him as a joke.
Oh man, you picked the wrong guy.
Yeah, so I make that mistake too. But I apologize. I was like, "Hey, bro, I was joking. Man. Of course you can take a fucking photo, man." He's like, "I'm so sorry. Like it took me forever to come up to you, and you know when you told me that, like you scared me, dog. I felt so bad."
He mustered up the courage to come up.
And I wrecked his ass. But I was kidding. And then obviously we took a photo. But hey, man, I love you, dude. Like, you know I was just kidding. I was like, fuck you.
It's like forever shattered his
Khalid saw me do that joke a couple times too. He goes, "Bro, you're fucked up." I was like, "It's a joke. I'm kidding." And we still take the photo, you know?
Yeah.
I just tell him, you know, I laugh after. Some of I say about 50% of the people get it. The other 50 get devastated. But, you know.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh my God, my idol just told me fuck you."
Yeah, but Edric, where can they find you?
You can find me at Ed2 Instagram, secretsociety.com.
Yeah, that's SCRTsociety.com.
Yes, sir.
And every Thursdays, Sundays is a Genius Brain podcast. We talked about a lot of random shit today.
A lot.
Just here to be with you on your daily commute. And we'll see y'all next time.
Hey, and by the way, guys, if you guys want me to make a late night radio show, let me know.
It's just going to be him making fucking blowjob noises. That's all it is.
That's just going to be this.
Fucking disgusting. All right, y'all. See y'all next time.
All right, y'all. Peace.